Okay, Blake Wally here, Blake the Eccentric at the Bundy Ranch. So I ran into a couple of domestic terrorists here, and I wanted to ask a couple of questions. So how do you feel about being labeled as a domestic terrorist?
I don't feel like I'm a domestic terrorist.
Terrorist, I'm proud to be one. This is how our country was started, fighting Great Britain. We were terrorists in these colonies.
Yeah, total matter of perspective.
Considering their definition, I am proud to be a domestic terrorist.
All right, I am here with another domestic terrorist over at the Bundy Ranch, so I wanted to ask, how does it feel to be a domestic terrorist?
I've never been prouder in my life.
All right, short and sweet. So, how does it feel to be a domestic terrorist?
Never been prouder.
It feels great. I just got my picture taken with Cliven and his wife Carol, and I'm so proud to be out here supporting them, supporting our rights.
Okay, I am here with another domestic terrorist at the Bundy Ranch, so I wanted to ask, how does it feel to be a domestic terrorist?
Feels great.
That since Harry Reid was the one that called us domestic terrorists, I was wondering if you had anything that you maybe off the cuff would like to say to Harry Reid if he's listening.
Harry Reid, you are the domestic terrorist, and that's all there is to it.
We were here last weekend, and it was a very peaceful demonstration. We had moms and children flipping burgers and helping to provide support in the background to all of the men who went to make a stand for liberty, which is freedom plus justice. And it's so important that people know that this wasn't just men waving guns about. This was people of the United States trying to say we're Americans.
And the only people waving guns were the government. None of us ever had our guns drawn. The government had their guns drawn at us.
My dad was one of those cowboys. He was on the front lines, and he didn't bring a gun, and he had his hands in the air when he approached that line. And if they want to say that he was a terrorist, he went there with goodwill and getting back someone's property it was stolen property.
Harry Reid, get with the program. I mean, seriously, we're not domestic terrorists. It's something that they've been trying to do for years. It started with the Patriot Act.
Is there anything that you would like to tell Harry Reid?
Yeah. Look up domestic terrorist. Look up terrorist. Somebody who terrorizes. I'm not saying anybody here terrorized me.
Is there anything that comes to mind maybe you'd like to say to Harry Reid?
Well, if I'm a domestic terrorist, what does that make you, being part of a criminal gang who steals property and murders people without any kind of real value to it other than supporting the government? Legal confirmation of your crimes. Legal positivism is the road to misery. The guy says that just because someone's a lawbreaker, they're domestic terrorists. So I guess that makes individuals like MLK and Rosa Parks domestic terrorists. People who ran the Underground Railroad, trying to get people away from slavery, standing for their rights, domestic terrorists.
In a nutshell, what would you tell Harry Reid if he's listening?
I would tell Harry Reid that you've been in office too long. You might want to cut that out, but seriously. No, it's true. We should have term limits because your power, you think you have power. Well, you have a lot of money. You have a lot of backers. And it's not fair that you should think that you own everything. It's not that way.
You don't think we're better off, being run by oligarchs and bankers and aristocrats?
No, we're better off being run by human beings that love this country, because right now you are killing this country.
And anything you'd like to say to Harry Reid if he's listening?
Well, thank you for all your years of service, Harry, but it's time to go. And it's time that we just have Nevada turn back to the people and politicians and government officials that really speak for us. You're here to serve us, not for us to serve you. And I hope that the next incumbent takes that as a challenge, and we look forward to supporting you, whoever that may be.
Blake Wally here, the Eccentric, along with Brad
Rogers
of the Constitutional and Sheriff's Peace Officers Association from Indiana. So I wanted to ask you, Brad, how does it feel to be a domestic terrorist?
Well, I don't consider myself one, but I'm here to show support that what's going on here and the people's right to either protest or the right to give their opinion, their First Amendment rights, even the rights to carry firearms, doesn't mean that they're terrorists. There's been no shots fired. It's a peaceful. If you can look around here, it's a peaceful gathering. We're having a cookout tonight, and it's really a nice event. And obviously people are passionate and feel strongly about things, but that doesn't mean that you're a terrorist. So I come here to show support, to let people know that here you have an elected sheriff, obviously from another state, but I wouldn't be associating with terrorists if that was the key.
Right. Okay, and could you just clarify what is the difference between a regular sheriff and a constitutional sheriff?
Well, the difference is really in attitude, perspective, and action. There's lots of good sheriffs out there in the sense that they would uphold the law and provide for public safety and so on. But one of the key differences is a constitutional sheriff will understand that just because a law is created doesn't mean that, one, it should be enforced, or that the government is always right. In 2011, I kicked the Food and Drug Administration out of my county because they were harassing Amish farmers distributing raw milk. It's one of those type of things that it could be that you're protecting the people from criminals, but also from the government itself sometimes.
All right, very good. And so let's give you one final question here. There's been a lot of bad press said about the people that are gathering here. A lot of people are misunderstood, perhaps. I was wondering if you could speak on that. Is there anything that has been written or said about the people that are here that bothers you and you would like to address that?
Well, one of the things that was said earlier was that women and children were put out in front, and that just didn't happen. That's not true. That's not accurate. That may have been what somebody was trying to strategize, but that wasn't the big picture view of it, and the evidence shows otherwise. And it's really what needs to happen here. Instead of a bunch of federal agents coming in armed to the hilt, how about the local sheriff intervening and taking care of the situation? Just like in Ruby Ridge and Waco, it could have ended peacefully, and that's what I hope will happen here.
Right. So I bring up one quick question because I don't want to necessarily throw Doug Gillespie under the bus here in Vegas, but I'm just wanting to give out what would you have done differently, or what would you do? How would you handle the situation if you were the sheriff here in Clark County, Nevada?
Well, first of all, I would certainly be in dialogue with the feds, and I've met Mr. Bundy, a great guy. I don't know all the technicalities of the law as what the accusations are and so on, but at this point, being from Indiana, I don't really need to. But my point is, as the sheriff of this county, they should be involved in that. They should be involved in peacefully resolving this situation so that nobody gets hurt, nobody gets killed. And I think that's the responsibility of any sheriff. Now, I'm not coming from Indiana and telling Clark County Sheriff how to do his job. I would never do that. But my point is, he needs to remember that he is a sheriff for the people, and he took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution.
All right. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you for being out here and answering the questions. Thank you. I'm also going to ask maybe one other quick question. Since there's been a lot of press out there, you're talking about it's misunderstood. So is there anything in particular that they've seen written or said about the people that are around here that you would like to address?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me?
No, just about the whole domestic terrorist thing. If that's what it is, standing up for your country and standing up for your rights, then I guess we're all domestic terrorists.
All right. All right, thank you.
Definitely the domestic terrorist thing, that really bugged me. Let's set the record straight. We were called that because we love our country, we love our freedom, and me and the people I'm here with now, we are risking our lives. We're putting our lives on the line for freedom, for state sovereignty, everything. We're here because we love our country and our Constitution.
Spoken like a true domestic terrorist. All right, thank you, terrorist. you want to tell people, what should they know about the group here?
Well, I was asked not too long ago if on Saturday when the standoff, if I was worried that one side or the other would get an itchy finger and slip on their trigger. And the funny thing was I wasn't worried about the militia doing it, because every man that came out here as armed militia wasn't coming out here to shoot. We was coming out here to pull the bullets to us. Now, if we got shot, whatever, but we didn't come out here to shoot nobody. We came out here to draw the fire to us because we were armed, not the unarmed civilians.
All right, spoken like a true domestic terrorist. Thank you very much. All right.
Well, I just basically stand on what individual natural rights are. Individual rights trump every kind of rights that you claim the government has benevolently bestowed upon you. You have your own rights, and it's up to you to stand for them, or you're going to get bossed around by those who say you don't have them. So all I know is that taxation is theft. Public property is fraud. We need to end the state, end the IRS, end the Fed. Peace and liberty for all.
There you heard it. A domestic terrorist at the Bundy Ranch. So one very more quick question for people out there that are misunderstand what this gathering is all about at the Bundy Ranch. Is there anything you'd like to say to any of those people out there?
Well, I think that America needs to understand that this isn't one just particular man. There's many people that have been farming and ranching this entire state for 100 years, and they're all about employing people. They're all about helping the community. They're all about paying their taxes and so forth. But just like each state, we all want it to go toward our people in our county and our city. These people work really hard. They're not rich people by all means, and I know that. And they're here to just do what's right. You know, let's pay whatever and move on, and let's get past this. But it shouldn't be about, honing in on people with federal agents with guns and killing cattle.
So there's been a lot of bad publicity for a lot of the people out here. Is there anything that struck a nerve with you? Something that was written about the people here or said about us, and would you like to address that?
Well, the truth on mainstream media is not out there. Really, I want everybody to really dig deep and really look at the truth of the Bundy's history, and then how the government's just taking over, trying to wipe people out of their land grabbing. They're not, the BLM's not managing, Bureau of Land Management. They're not managing anything. They're just taking all there are is strong arming people off their land. So I think we need to really look deep and hard, America, and realize that it's not okay. And if any of this is happening to you, know that there's people out there that recognize it's not okay, and that will stand behind you and even stand in front of you.
All right, that's all I have. All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Another domestic terrorist, ladies and gentlemen, at the Bundy Ranch. All right, thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy.